All right, how's everybody doing today? We have an amazing guest here today, someone we actually have worked with for a long time. We know this person, Eddie Guerra. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's been a while that I haven't seen you guys, but, I think the last deal we actually closed together was November with Latron.
It wasn't that long ago, but it was.
I feel like time's flying by. We just started the year and it's already February. I'm like, Jesus. I blinked at
Yeah, Christmas trees in here already. It's already going to be Christmas like that.
Exactly. Yeah. Before you know it, everyone's like, hey, what am I getting for Christmas?
No, but, thanks for coming down here from Orange County. I know you're very busy, but me and Mike were like, we need somebody who we find very special on our podcast, and we have a relationship with you with real estate and everything for a large amount of years, at least 5 years.
Many years now.
A pretty good amount of time.
Right.
But, we wanted to have you here so we can talk to you and dissect the process of who Eddie Guerra is and what you're all about. And I feel like it's your moment to shine, and we'd love to break that down in detail with you.
I'm ready. Let's get the Dr. Phil session.
Dr. Phil session, love it. So one of the things where we met you, of course, is real estate, and we'll get into that because that's one of your main professions. But also you, I believe, were in the Navy for quite some time. Are you still in the Navy?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been in the military for 10 years.
Wow.
I joined in 2015, and I did 6 years of active duty. I got out of active duty this September of 2020.
Okay.
And then went into the reserves right after that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. 10 years.
Yeah. Well, technically March.
Okay.
March,
Well,
but I just say 10 years.
Yeah.
Just
10
give him
years.
the 10 years. Fine.
Halfway there. I'm going to figure out if I'm going to do 20 years or not.
There you go. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because you get a pension if you do 20 years.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Okay.
You're still very young, so 20 years, it might be that kind of
We'll be 30 this year.
No way. Okay, you look 20. What's the one thing we are always talking about it behind the scenes is can you tell us how you got into the Navy, into the military?
Yeah. Well, I'll pretty much give you the initial background of what I was doing before I got in.
Okay.
To kind of caveat onto why it is that I joined.
Yes.
So, I graduated high school. I was going to college. I was trying to be a mechanical engineer. Like most Latinos, they always tell you, hey, if you're going to go and do something, you got to get an education.
Right.
I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and get an education. I'll go to Cal State LA. I got accepted there. And I like doing stuff with my hands. So I was like, you know what? Mechanical engineering seems like the thing I would want to do.
Right.
I got there and I realized it is not for me.
Okay.
Everyone was super antisocial. No one really talked to each other. They're really book smart individuals.
Yes.
I'm good at math and science and everything, but I just like to socialize a little bit more.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? After the first year, I was gonna apply again for the second year and get financial aid, and my expenses paid for.
Yes.
But somehow I didn't file everything properly, and I'm like, you know what? I guess this is a sign for me not to go back.
Right. Not for you. Not for you.
And it wasn't really for you anyways, because you do so well in sales in the real estate field you're in, and I can't even imagine you doing anything like that.
Well, I was actually shy.
Oh, really?
I like talking to people, but I was more shy than I am now.
A shy Eddie, that was almost impossible.
Yeah, because in sales, you need to be able to talk in sales, and you definitely know how to do that. And so, no, definitely. So then basically this wasn't for you. So then what called you to be in the Navy? Because you started off in the Navy, right?
Well, after college, I was like, I got to fill up my time somehow. So I'm like, you know what? I'll get a full-time job. I ended up working 3 jobs. They're all part-time. So I was at Vans.
Okay.
Hometown Buffet. Hated that place. It was horrible. Don't recommend anyone to work in the food industry, honestly. Okay. And then I worked at a place called On Track. That's kind of like UPS,
Oh, yes. On track.
So you're shipping stuff, you're unloading and offloading the trailers.
Yes.
Super heavy work,
Right.
And my hat goes off to them because it's definitely tough work. But you know what? I was like, my parents didn't come here for me to be breaking my back. More than that, and still make less money than
Oh, wow.
me.
Okay.
I walked into a military recruiting office. I went to the Marines first because I wanted to be a Marine. And I took a little pretest. So I took the pretest. It was really good. And they're like, dude, you should join. It seems like you're the person that would definitely want to enjoy or would enjoy the military. I'm like, all right, cool. Sounds good. So I talked it over that same night with my mom. And I was like, hey, look, I'm thinking about joining the military. I'm going to see what benefits they have to offer.
Got it.
Went back. They weren't there the next day when I went.
Okay.
So the Navy office was open. And I was like, Let's see what they have to
No
offer.
way.
So hold on,
Okay.
you can't say that all that happened by coincidence.
Like fate or something.
I don't know. Well,
Okay.
yeah, I guess maybe because a lot of my friends who I went to high school with actually ended up joining the Navy.
Okay.
But I hadn't talked to them. But by chance, I joined the Navy, and then we actually ended up meeting up back whenever I was active duty. So we all lived in Virginia together, and actually 2 of them were my roommates.
Oh wow.
Over there. So like we all just ended up connecting. Yeah.
Okay.
But I walked in there, and they told me school, housing, the VA home loan, which is what I specialize in now.
I've seen it. I've seen it.
Members.
You guys didn't hear a VA home loan specialist.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
I help service members get their house for $0 out of pocket.
Amazing.
To the best of my ability.
Yes.
But the biggest thing was I asked them, hey, what can I do for my mom? She doesn't have papers. I hear that maybe I can, get her citizenship. And they said, yeah, if you join, you can expedite that process.
No
A lot of
way.
people, like I have family who has waited like 10 plus years
Yes.
to be able to file,
Yes.
or get some type of acceptance.
Wow.
And they don't hear anything back.
Right.
I spent thousands of dollars trying to get that done. Meanwhile, they said, hey, it'd be super fast and super efficient if you do it through the military. So I'm like, you know what? That's all I needed to hear. I signed, the contract,
Okay.
and I shipped out the following year in March.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's epic.
And
So
what year was that?
So when I first walked in there was 2014.
2014.
wow.
So
So obviously this was for you. It was something where you were like, okay, I could do this. It's a little bit different than my previous jobs.
Yeah.
Now you're like more outgoing, but at the same time, as a son, you did this to expedite, your mom, right?
Yes.
Your mom basically having citizenship here in America.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so amazing, especially with it being 2025. This story is so powerful because right now that's like one of the main topics is like citizenship, and
especially with Trump around now, everybody's hiding in their house and worried about
Yeah.
ICE coming crashing down.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually one of the things that I go to a bunch of the recruiting offices for the military. I go and pretty much, obviously, I'll do a presentation on the VA home loan because service members don't know anything about buying a house because they don't explain it to us. I didn't know anything when I was active duty.
yes,
But I also do a side part to that where I talk about how I was able to grant my mom her status in this country.
amazing.
Because a lot of people who join the military tend to be minorities, especially in California.
Oh wow. Okay, how long did it take your mom to get citizenship after you being in the military, the Navy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I turned 21. For anyone, you have to wait till you're 21 until
Okay.
you can petition for
Got
the
it.
family members. So once I turned 21, I put in her paperwork. We went to an office in East LA, and they said, hey, because of your military status, you can go ahead and file this paperwork, and they'll grant you your parents' citizenship.
Okay.
They'll grant you her status. So we asked questions like, hey, is she going to have to get kicked out of the country, because sometimes they'll penalize you for
Right.
entering the country illegally.
Okay.
And they said, depending on her record, maybe yes, maybe no,
Okay.
Luckily, my mom's record was super clean, so she never had to leave the country.
Oh, that's
Wow.
That's
yeah,
wow.
God willing.
Okay. Yes.
So 6 months after I did that, I ended up, she ended up getting her work permit. So 6 months, work permit, and then 6 months after that, they sent her green card.
Wow. Oh my God. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, a whole year for everything.
Yeah.
She didn't even have to go to an actual interview.
No way. That is so powerful. What an amazing thing for like a son to do. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Especially at such a young age when people are kind of like trying to find themselves, You were doing this for yourself, but also for your mom. So honestly, like that's phenomenal.
Did you ever feel like you would ever be in the military when you were a young kid?
Actually, no.
Okay.
I'm like, my last name fits, the character.
Yeah.
Perfect, because my last name is Guerra, which means war.
No way.
Guys,
Wow.
Okay, so guerra in Spanish is basically Spanish. It's war. So I mean, it's almost it's kind of crazy, right?
Well,
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, a little bit.
Well, you went to war for the Navy, and obviously you go to war for real estate because being somebody who's actually personally worked with you as a real estate associate, you are one of the top in the league, and I have seen you go to war. So maybe we could talk a little bit about your real estate career. How did all this happen?
So me getting into real estate was actually by coincidence. Like I was not planning on doing real estate. I was mostly just looking to invest.
Okay.
I knew I can buy a house with the VA home loan. That's pretty much it. That's all I knew. And it was zero money down. But I didn't know that you need like a consistent income. I thought you could use your benefits, like going to school, to qualify to use your VA loan. That wasn't the case. I'm like, luckily I had some money that I had saved up while I was in the military, and I want to go talk to a real estate agent. I was like, hey, look, this is what I got. Obviously, you know, I can't use the VA loan. How else can I use this money to invest it? I'm like, I want to throw my money into some type of asset so it can grow without me having to work.
Makes sense.
So she ended up recommending me to Jared.
Okay.
So Jared was the first mentor. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Because she worked with him.
Okay.
And she was a TC when he was at Century 21.
Oh, there you go.
Got it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So then I got connected with him, and he told me, he's like, look, it looks like you have the right mindset for what you're trying to do. You just don't know anything about, you know, the military. Not the military.
Real estate.
About real estate, yeah. About real estate. And I was like, okay. I'm like, so what do I need to know? You know? And he's like, all right, well, the first thing you're going to need to do is learn how to communicate.
Yes. Okay.
And I'm like, I understand that now. And when he said that, because the way I would communicate before, because of my military experience, was like super direct, you know, like I wouldn't cater any sugar or anyone's emotions. Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like, you either get it or you don't.
Got it.
You know?
Got it.
Strictly that. Now I'm a little more charismatic with it. I'm like, okay, so how, like, did you understand what I was saying?
Yeah.
Or do I need to reiterate in a different way?
Yes.
You know?
Right.
So that was the first thing. And he's like, you know what? Also, you're going to need connections. You need people you're going to have to work with, like you guys, you know, that I work with now, which is
amazing.
You guys are some of the best people that I actually work with, and I appreciate everything you're doing.
Appreciate you. Likewise.
Thank you. And so networking was one of those things. So I wanted to do flip, didn't have the connections, didn't have the background experience, none of that. Wanted to buy rentals, but obviously I couldn't qualify.
Okay.
So I ended up joining his team, got my real estate license, and I was training, you know. I was like learning the ropes and everything. I didn't get my license till like a year after because some issue with my last name. I got two last names. I only put one down, you know. Mexican problems. You got a bunch of last names, you know. So yeah, it has to be perfect, like it says it in the social.
Yes.
So while I was waiting for my actual license to be able to come in, I was just working under him, and I was gaining traction. Like there's people who wanted to work with me, so I was like, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and grab Jared, and he pretty much just showed me how everything was done.
Amazing.
And what's it called? Like he closed everything up, you know.
Nice.
But I was learning firsthand, and he's like, okay, like obviously since you're here with me, like this is how you talk to them. This is, you know, what you say. This is how you navigate the situation. So that way, by the time I got my license, like I was already fully fledged.
Wow.
We ended up closing 4 deals.
Wow.
Before I got my license. Once I had my license, I pretty much took off and was closing a deal every single month.
Powerful.
Yeah, that's powerful, guys. Like buying a house and financing is one thing, but being in real estate, it's so much more complex. Because you have to have a certain service, a certain way of speaking with people, because it's very sensitive.
Right.
But you have a certain way, like we worked with you, and you have a certain way of how to articulate it with people, where they're actually very, very understanding. They're very calm. I think I'm a little bit more direct with people. As a lender, I think doing this for so long, I'm more like, come on, like here's the A, B, C. It's black and white, but you're right. There's that component of being more catered to the service of people, especially because they don't know nothing about the process. They're just, okay, how do I buy a house? And you're more like, all right, let me explain. Here's the map. And you've done a great job of servicing these clients and the crazy part is you went from not understanding what you wanted to do in life, fell into a certain position, then you wanted to do something else, fell into another position, which was never really what you wanted to do, but now you do it so well that it's amazing.
Right, this is your thing. You're a realtor now. You definitely do so good. And honestly, most realtors, seasoned realtors, they probably only close 3 or 4 transactions a year, and even before you could even get to that point, you're already closing that amount of deals, and that's just so amazing to hear.
That was in the span, I guess, of like 7 months.
Wow. I mean, that is powerful. And one thing that you actually focus on is because you come from the military, the Navy, you actually help a lot of, like you were saying beforehand, that you focus on like VA loans and real estate, individuals coming from the military. Can you explain a little bit about how you focus on that? Because I know you're phenomenal in that field right now, in real estate, military, Navy.
Yes. So I decided to focus in on, people like me, which is service members. Right. Obviously, I'm also part of the Latino community, but even a bunch of Latinos join the military.
Okay.
So, but my main thing for me is military because I understand the struggles that come with being a service member. You get me? Like working hours are crazy. You know, like sometimes you hate your life, but you understand that this is for a bigger purpose and a bigger cause than just yourself.
Right.
And you want to make sure that you can take care of your family at the end of the day. So you do these things to be able to make sure that their future is secure, even if you got to kind of bite the bullet in the beginning.
Got it.
You know?
Wow.
So I go after military because, like I said, they don't teach us anything about
I was gonna ask.
buying assets, buying real estate, using your benefits. And I think it's by design, honestly.
Of course.
Because if I had known everything that I knew while I was active duty, I would have bought up properties around military bases left and right.
Right.
Because the same way I ended up at a military base, other service members are going to be at a military base.
Wow.
And if I'm not living there, guess who can rent out that property? Other service members. So that's just additional income that you can start making if you play it right and obviously calculate the numbers correctly, you know. And if you have like a lender like yourself, who's perfect at this, then you know you're always gonna find a deal that's gonna make sense. You know.
And the great part is you actually fell into the position, and I feel like it wasn't really by coincidence. Now I'm not feeling like it was coincidence. Now I feel like it was somehow meant for you to be here, to be in that position, because you're actually really helping people that don't understand, especially veterans who have served our country. They work so hard,
Right.
and it's not that they have the lack of knowledge. They don't have certain abilities to understand. Well, I mean, they have the ability to understand, but they don't have access. They don't have the ability to get access from someone like yourself, Eddie, that
Right.
can actually, you've been in their boots, you've served the country, you know exactly what's lacking in that area. And then you're like, well, I know what you're going through. I know what needs to happen, but hey, I'm a realtor. Here's an opportunity for your own property in the United States, which, by the way, we serve those purposes. And then you can buy it with 0% down, which is insane. I think those are great opportunities that you're actually now able to serve the country in a different way.
Yeah.
Right.
And the funny thing is, I actually wanted to be a recruiter before I left active duty. So I'm like, it's still kind of the same thing, except instead of putting someone in the house, I was trying to put people in the military.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to do.
Because you now you go to recruiting centers, correct? And now you're able to again kind of have classes on all of this and talk about the type of real estate that you're doing, the 0% down, the VA loans, and I think you actually just came from some of these sites right now. So how is that, spreading the word, to all these individuals, all these real superheroes of the world? You're one of them.
Thank you.
So, and it must feel so amazing because, again, like you said, they're not really in the know of all of this, that they can get this. So when you're standing there, I'm sure it's amazing to feel it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because now I know that I'm able to make things easier for the people who come after me.
Okay.
Because I wish I had known this and I had a resource like myself who, would have catered to what my needs are. And obviously, make sure that financially it makes sense, because a lot of people get scared. They're like, buying a house is super hard. Like, mortgages are crazy. Like, I'm not going to be able to afford it. That's the first thing that comes to mind, especially because they always get discouraged by other people who don't happen to be able to do it. But I make them see the light at the end of the tunnel by letting them know, look, you're right off the bat, you're already in a better position than most people. You don't have to put a down payment down, okay? Top of that, you get lower rates compared to everyone else.
Right.
You don't have PMI, which you're saving thousands of dollars a year buying a house just with your benefits. And on top of that, it's a benefit. Like, you can reuse it as many times as you want. You can abuse it as many times as you want. So you can have some type of retirement if you don't do 20 years, Because if you do 20 years in the military, then you usually get a pension. But being away from family for such a long period of time, sometimes you're like, you know what, I can't keep doing this. Because I had a situation where when I deployed and I went off to the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
In 2016, I had one of my buddies who was deploying with me tell me, like, it broke his heart when he was about to walk out of his house, and his daughter came up to him, and she hugged his leg, and she was like, "Why are you leaving, Daddy? When are you gonna be back?" Wow. And then he just looks at her, and he was like, "Damn, I can't do this anymore," because we were about to be gone for like 7 months.
Wow.
So like you seeing your baby just hug you and not wanting you to leave,
Yes.
like, it's gonna leave an impact on you. You know what I mean? Right. So he did, like, I believe 8 years, but he didn't have anything else other than the military service. And obviously he has skills that he can transfer into the civilian world, so pick up a good job.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what if you have set yourself up better. So that way, when you transition out of the military, if the income that you're making is what your family's relying on, you have additional income now because you have rental properties, you have, other pools of sources where you can get money from, to provide the life that you're currently living.
Wow, that is so amazing.
Wow, that's such a heartfelt story. Like, my God, I can only imagine how many people really get impacted that serve the military and have to leave their kids. I have a question for you, and hopefully you take it well, because I don't know if I'm asking it right. While you were serving in the military, I know people that have these things called PTSD, right? Like, they have these post-traumatic stress disorders that happen after they leave because of the situation that happened in the military.
Yeah.
You being who you are now, a professional in the field, do you have, or is it very common in the military for those things to happen?
Like, pick up PTSD, or what is that?
Like, basically, like, they have an experience where now they are not able to kind of take it out of their mind.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it definitely is. I think just joining the military in general, in a sense, like, there's certain things about being in that type of occupation that you're never going to be able to get rid of. Like, it's always going to be ingrained in your head.
Okay.
Obviously, I do have friends who serve with me who have seen, some really bad situations that really affected them psychologically. Like, sometimes you have trouble sleeping, or sometimes it's just like you can't trust anyone because of the things that you see and you hear. So, like, it definitely takes a toll. Like, I remember when I first got out of the military, like, the transition into regular civilian life was a little bit tough for me, especially with my friends and family, because I was so used to, and I'll say I'm blessed that, I didn't suffer from anything like super traumatic. I saw some things, but nothing super traumatic.
Okay.
Me connecting with them again was really difficult.
Yes.
Really difficult, because I guess my temper was very short. And every single time I addressed them, it was like very aggressive, and people would say, like, why do you talk to me like that? You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to come off rude or come off as bossy or come off as like authoritarian.
Okay.
But it's just the way that I'm so used to communicating on my day-to-day basis with the people around me who I work with.
So it sounds like they rewire you when you're in the military, right? To train you to be like this machine.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, because I'm like, there's no talk back in the military. I'm like, you told to do something, you're gonna get it done.
Got it.
I'm like, you gotta be somewhere. You're gonna show up no matter what. And I'm like, you could, excuse my French, bitch and complain all you want, but at the end of the day, if you don't get this done, like, there's consequences. It's consequences.
Right.
So it's just part of the occupation.
Right.
But those are, I guess, some of the hurdles that I saw that I had to overcome. And on top of that, just, like, obviously me experiencing life and the world, seeing people from all over the country and all over the world as well, since I was able to travel overseas. Like, I've been to Guam, I've been to Dubai, Bahrain, Italy, France. Like, you get to see how different people from all over the place live. The liberties that we have and that they don't have, and the manner in which they are able to live in the manner that we're able to live, I'm like, obviously, the U.S. isn't perfect, but you've definitely still in a much better place than you are in some other places of the world.
Right.
And I think me coming back from the military, I ended up gaining some sort of patriotism, because I don't think I had that when I left,
Yeah.
To me, it was just like, hey, I'm just going about my life. And I feel like that's a lot of people, like, I guess we lost that sense of patriotism for the country, especially for those of us who come from immigrant parents. Like, we forget, yes, we love where, our heritage is from, our roots are from, right? Like, I'm never gonna, turn my back on that.
Yeah.
But you were born in the U.S., and your parents sacrificed themselves to come over here because they know that their home country wasn't going to be able to give you the opportunities that you have now.
Right. And there's challenges right now. I mean, there's people trying to get into this country, and obviously there's a border that they're putting a lot of work on. And that's not really something that's happening as easy anymore, because back then there was opportunities where people could come and get their status and go through steps to be able to get their, their ability to become residents or citizens. And now it's very difficult. And I see that people are definitely trying to be part of America, because you're right. I can only imagine the hustle or the hardship going in different countries and trying to understand that culture. And maybe you might not have a lot of control, because, I mean, there's situations why people come from Mexico or Canada or China or different countries, because it's just different. We had somebody on our podcast that came from Russia. There's a different party. I can't really say the name, and there's hardships of leaving different.
Yeah, totally different. Yeah, totally different. And it seems like you actually go through a lot of extreme things. So, the military. I've seen you jump out of planes before. You know what I mean?
Hold up, you jump out of a plane?
I mean, Hawaii when I was over there.
That was not pleasure, was it? Or you actually...
It was. That was. I had paid to go jump out of a plane.
You also, you drove a motorcycle here probably. I don't know if it's raining.
It's raining. I didn't drive the motorcycle.
You do drive a motorcycle. Obviously, again, the Navy, the military. One of my questions is, where does like all of this inspiration, where does this like drive come from? Does it come from like your parents? Does it come from yourself being like, where does it all like stem from?
I would say obviously I feel like it's ingrained in me because I've always been kind of a go-getter. Like I've never really been complacent, but I think it's also because I didn't grow up with a lot.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that now that I'm older, because I've grown up now, I'm not a kid anymore. I look 20. I'm about to be 30, 30, This is the year.
Yeah, my word.
I just want to make sure that they have what I wasn't able to have. You know what I mean? And I feel like every generation does that, Like, that's why my parents immigrated to this country, because they wanted me to have something that they weren't able to have back in Mexico.
Yes.
And, so on and so forth.
Definitely.
But also, it's just giving back to those communities and those individuals who made me into who I am today. So obviously, like everything that I will usually do is for my parents, because they sacrificed a lot for me to, be able to do what I do now. And because they set me up with a good set of morals, I would say.
Wow. Yes.
I feel like I'm a pretty well-mannered individual, hardworking and very disciplined.
Right.
And on top of that, also the military is one of those places that I attribute most of who I am, because it built me into the man I am now.
Push you a little bit to be that.
Exactly.
No, yeah, definitely.
And where you're at in your life now, I mean, there's so much. I feel like you're progressing so much, and you're still very young. I mean, let's say you're still in your 20s.
Yeah.
We can say that right
Till June.
Right. Okay.
But it's still in your 20s. But considering you're in your 20s, you've done so much. What's the future look like for you? You're obviously a real estate agent. You're investing. You're doing so many different things. You have a military background. You're a huge patriot to the country. So we want to honor that.
Thank you.
What is the next thing that you believe is the next thing for Eddie?
So I believe the next thing for me would be honestly, I feel like I don't do enough.
Okay.
I feel like I still need to do more.
This is good.
But this year my goal is to finally buy a house for my mom.
Okay.
Like, hey, I help everyone get a home. It's my turn to be able to give that gift to you.
Wow.
Like I help other parents get their houses. Other children get their houses for their parents, and so on and so forth. So I think that I want to do that for my mom now.
Nice.
So that way she has somewhere secure to live at, and she doesn't have to be stressing about, hey, are they going to raise my rent, et cetera, et cetera. And then also a family. Like my biggest thing is family.
Well, hold up. You say you want a family?
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Wait, who is she? Where is she?
She's the shadow right now.
Oh, she's not around.
Okay.
She doesn't. Oh, she's saying this, but she's not here yet. Okay, got it.
I just want to make sure that I become the man I need to be for whenever that person presents themselves.
Wow.
I have that person.
That's powerful.
You heard that, girls?
Yes.
And right here.
Children too, right? And that's what you in family.
Oh yeah, I want to build family.
Yes.
Because I was an only child.
Oh, what? I didn't know this about you. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like you're a
child. Okay.
So
that's
I like
a little insight right there.
the more the merrier for
Yeah,
Let's pack up the house for Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything.
Love it. There's also one thing that we like to ask as well is like, have you ever had like a time where maybe, because you go through a lot, obviously the Navy is not an easy thing to do, and then going to real estate and military, even being in college before that, is there times where maybe you had like a downtime and you're just like, I don't even want to get out of bed? And if you did, like, how did you get out of that? Like, that way our audience can know, like, if they're going through that, how can they like snap themselves out of it? And maybe you didn't, you know what I mean?
No, I have. Obviously we all have heartbreaks, yes. I will say there's two. There's two pivotal moments that really pushed me to this point now. Mm-hmm. And that was obviously during COVID, everyone got locked down here in California.
Yes.
I was in Virginia. I didn't have, to deal with that. Like,
Oh, wow.
while you guys were stuck at the house, I'm over there partying and getting drunk. No, that's a club. Okay,
Is this a sad story? Are you sure?
It is. I'll get to that part. Obviously, I was enjoying my life out there.
Okay.
But the two reasons kind of get twisted together because my mom, I lost my grandpa, which is her dad.
Okay.
She wasn't able to go to Mexico to see him because of what was going on with COVID. So she didn't have the time to grieve. And on top of that, she's like, where am I getting money from? Like, how am I going to pay the bills? And I would always tell her, hey, like, if you need money, let me know. If you need money, let me know. She never said a word because she's just that type of, person, that type of woman, like very self-sufficient.
Right.
Always gets done what needs to be done. So I never knew, but obviously she came down with like depression and anxiety because she just didn't know how to manage that. She was overstressing herself. And that was so far away from home. I was like, yeah, I can't allow that to happen again.
I see.
I'm like, if something like that happens, I need to be close to my mom
That's
now.
tough.
To make sure that she's well taken care of.
Got it.
And then while that's happening, I had a girlfriend in the military,
Okay.
and she cheated on me. So
Wow. Okay.
I had plans. Yeah, I had plans to stay in Virginia, but when that happened, everything that transpired afterwards, like it was kind of like it was backstabbing to me because the friend group that we all hung out with kind of like turned their backs on me and went with her and the person that she cheated on me with. And the worst part was that it was one of my roommates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Isn't it always somebody close to you? Like,
Yeah.
And
Right.
I didn't know. I never expected it, but I guess looking back now, I kind of see how that might have happened.
Those are pretty tough times.
But you know what? That was meant to be. She didn't deserve you. It's as simple as that.
Now you're gonna find your family and you're gonna start your family with kids, and you know what I mean. It was all for a reason. It seems like speaking with you today, a lot of the stuff is happening like out of fate. I think fate or everything happens for a reason type feeling here. But it's been honestly so amazing, and we always like to also have you talk to the camera, and just if you could just tell our audience like a couple of certain things that you think that you should let them know from Mr. Eddie as a person that maybe will inspire them, because you do such inspiring things.
Yeah.
I would say don't stress so much about what it is that you want to do in life. As long as you have, the right values and the right motivation that, there's something out there for me, even though I don't know what it is, you'll find it, Somehow life is going to take you on a crazy roller coaster ride and you'll find your purpose, I never imagined myself to be in the military, especially with the last name as Guerra, but somehow now I ended up being in the military and I help a bunch of service members out get the homes that a lot of people want nowadays, I'm like, if there's one thing that someone needs, it's a nice home for them and their families, and I'm able to provide that to those who defend the country like I have.
I love that. So if you guys want to follow Eddie, go ahead, Eddie. How do you say that?
My social media handle is Barracks to Backyard.
There you go.
Kind of play on words because for those of us in the military, we start off in the barracks. It's kind of like the dorms in college, and then backyard because the goal is for me to put you in your own backyard.
There you go.
Amazing.
Wow, that is branding, guys. That's some heavy branding. Guys, I want to appreciate you for being here. And honestly, you guys are going to watch this dude on these reels that are going to roll out really soon. Seriously, follow him. He is great at real estate. He has your back. Obviously, he's served as he's a patriot in the country. So, Eddie, thank you so much for sharing a wealth of knowledge with us. And we had this way past due. But thank you for being here with us and coming from Orange County. And it's raining, guys. So we really appreciate it. And you didn't bring the motorcycle, thank goodness. So that's good.
Right.
I'm crazy enough to do so, but
Yeah, I know you are.
it's in the shop getting painted right now. I'm giving it a little makeover.
Okay, good.
Getting it ready for the summer.
And to end it with this, if you're the girl, do not cheat on this dude. He needs a loyal woman, okay?
There you go. To start that path.
I'm loyal to my country and I'll be loyal to you. If I'm willing to die for my country, I'll die for you.
Love that.
Guys, thank you so much for sharing this experience with us.
We're going to have a part 2, guys. Or something.
We'll see if I found the one.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Part 2.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.